first of all, I'm sincerely grateful for this opportunity to be here with you to engage with the Gen Z generation about the future of work and the expectations that await when they join the workplace. So as you said, my name is Paul Badia. I'm a human resource professional with nearly a decade in the industry. I've worked in different sectors, the manufacturing sectors, transport, logistics. Currently, I'm in the maritime sector, working with Kenya Ports Authority in the human resource department, employee relations section.
It's amazing. You've worked across the maritime, transport, and manufacturing sector. What drew you to the human resource management in the first place?
In the human resource space, basically, our role is to ensure that employees have the right attitude, they have the right skills, and also that we ensure that the workplace is conducive so that employees are able to be productive and also to optimize their output at the workplace.
And Mr. Paul, you've said that you want to create a conducive environment to ensure that the employees are very productive and they work in a very conducive environment. Also, you mentioned that you have nearly a decade in experience in strategic HR roles. So from your perspective as a human resource professional, how's the modern workspace changed in the last 10 years?
Okay, the modern workplace is quite changing. In terms of embracing technology and also embracing the young generation which are coming up. So you find that this generation is agile, it's tech savvy. So for us as an organization, we have embraced technology in terms of being paperless and also making the organization quite engaging so that the young generation are able to fit into the workspace.
And when we talk about Gen Zs in the workplace, who exactly are we talking to, and who are we referring to, and what sets them apart from their previous generations?
Okay, Gen Zs, basically these are individuals who are born between the period of 1997 to 2012. So basically these are people who are born in the internet and information era. So they are tech savvy, the people who are familiar with digital tools, social media, artificial intelligence, machine learning. There are people who like to express themselves, and there are people who like personal growth, freedom in the workplace. There are people who actually are redefining how we are doing business, going against the rigid structures of the organization. Yes.
And it's very funny that you mentioned the fact that Gen Zs are redefining the work culture. And there's this personality about the Gen Zs that people say that they are bold and also you see they are tech driven. But sometimes some employers call them that they are hard to manage. So do you think this is fair or just a generational misunderstanding?
Okay, for me, I think it's a generational misunderstanding. And also it depends on the perspective. Gen Zs and the older generation, they view the world in different perspective. For instance, back in the days, we used to have a Nokia 3310. Back in the days, it used to be a very good phone and a very basic, just to make calls, send SMS. But right now we have transitioned to smartphone generation, whereby we are talking about instant messaging, face-to-face conversation. So you need to picture the Gen Z in terms of the smartphone era. So you cannot measure a smartphone using the old-fashioned phones. So basically, Gen Zs are struggling to fit in because the organization is still old-fashioned, and some of our organizations have not adapted to the new ways of doing things. We still rely on the 8-to-5 mode of working. There's no flexibility. There's no hybrid work system. So for Gen Zs, people who are born in this era of technology, so they find it hard to fit in. So, and then also for the older generation, when they were born, things were a bit hard. They also were born in eras of whereby they need to work hard for them to survive. So it was a mode of survival for them to fit in. So in my view, I think it's based on their perspective. So everyone perceives the world based on their view and also the experiences that they have encountered.
You say that we know that technology has become a part of almost every job today. So how is digital fluency redefining what productivity and performance looks like in the modern workspace?
Okay, digital fluency and productivity is informing quite a number of ways of doing business.
Yeah.
In terms of, like in my industry right now, we're talking about embracing technology in terms of smart gates, okay, to minimize, to also optimize efficiency at the port industry.
Yeah.
So also in terms of decision making, these days we rely so much on data-driven decisions. Basically, technology is defining each and everything that we do in the organization, right from the recruitment. Long are the days whereby you are told to write your CV, drop it to a certain post office, you know. But these days, your CV can actually be your LinkedIn profile, your social media, how you position yourself in the organization, the skills you offer, you know. So technology basically is really changing how we do business in all sectors, from maritime sector, hotel industries. Basically, the entire workforce is changing to embrace the digital era.
And Mr. Paul, you understand that the traditional work models used to be 8 to 5, that is 8 hours, 5 days, but we see Gen Z's challenging this one. Yeah, they're moving from 8 to 5 to routine or hybrid or remote setups. So my question is, how are organizations like the Kenya Ports Authority adapting to this cultural shift?
Okay, for Kenya Ports Authority, there's flexibility. And also there's the aspect of shift management, whereby employees are able to come in at different shifts. Remember, the Gen Z's work philosophy is whereby they perceive success in terms of output and not hours of work.
Yeah.
And there are people who want freedom on how they want to do the job, where they want to do the job. And sometimes they even call in and say that they need a day off for mental. Maybe they have a mental breakdown and they need a day off, you know. So for an organization like KPA, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how people get into the organization, shift management, you know, and also we encourage, and also for lactating mothers, they also given opportunities to work from home. These are some of the strategies that we have been putting in place to ensure that we are embracing the Gen Z.
In your experience with the employee relations, how can HR professionals balance structure and flexibility when dealing with the digital fast generations?
Okay, in that aspect is basically to integrate flexibility, remote work, hybrid, and also communicate clearly to the generation. You know, like why do they need to come to work? Because basically Gen Zs are people who they want meaningful conversation.
Right.
You have to explain to them like you know, maybe you are a waitress and you know, food cannot be served by itself. You need to show up to work, present food to the customer, etc. So also in the organization, we need to integrate our policies to have an element of flexibility, remote work, hybrid, and also having conversations with the Gen Z so that we can move together with the change.
And you just mentioned that the Gen Zs are more of transparent. They really want transparency. I mean, at the work. So how maybe is the technology helping the HR department to meet these expectations?
Technology has enabled us to minimize the human error and also real-time communication, instant feedback to the Gen Z. You know, Gen Zs are people that when you want to come up with a policy change, when you want to come up with directions that maybe you are given from the board, from the management, these are people that would want you to engage them, tell them why you are doing this. These are not people that you wake up and post your memos and letters telling them that effective this date, you shall not be coming to work at this time. There are people who want engagement. So for us, technology has enabled us to have a real-time conversations with them. And also through conducting surveys, we're able to get a feel of what they want, what systems that need to be placed so that we can improve their work experience at the organization.
You know, most people say that Gen Zs are people who are very hard to understand at some point because Gen Zs are always asking questions. Because you cannot just tell Gen Z do a particular thing without explaining further or giving them more details on whatever they have to do. So, sorry. What key skills or attitudes should the Gen Zs develop to thrive and stand out in formal employment or entrepreneurship?
They need to, first of all, have emotional intelligence. They also need to understand the different generations that are existing in the organization.
Yeah.
Like the same way the older generation are expected to understand the Gen Z. So the Gen Zs are also expected to understand the older generation. And also from the employer's perspective, there's an element of reverse mentorship programs, whereby older generations are paired with the Gen Z. So for the Gen Zs, they're able to teach the older generation the digital skills. And the older generation are able to share wisdom, the experiences, how they have lived in the organization, the different challenges that they've encountered. So basically, it's all about being tolerant, being patient. You know, Gen Z, these are people who they are referred to as microwave generation.
Yeah.
They say they're impatient. They would want things to be done instantly. So sometimes organizations are different. Some organizations take time to make decisions. Some decisions are beyond management. They have to be escalated, especially for government. Sometimes decisions have to go all the way to parliament, to other constitutional bodies for them to be able to make informed decisions. So patience is very key, emotional intelligence, soft skills, okay? There's a way you can address people in the organization, how to dress up at the workplace, how to say, excuse me, I'm sorry, pardon, I'll be late. You see, those are some soft skills that they need to build up so that they can be able to adapt in the organization.
Do you think there's a disconnect between the old gens or the golden ages with the Gen Zs?
No, it's not really. In my perspective, like I said, I think it's just based on their worldviews and the different times that they are born.
Yeah.
So the misunderstanding hereby, as you say, is most people will say that Gen Zs are lazy, they're people who are hard to manage, you know. And also the Gen Zs as well, they also look at the older guys as rigid, people who fear change, people who don't want to embrace technology. And also they also view the older generation as people who lack ethics. You know, remember when you had the Gen Z uprising, they were calling out for fairness, equal opportunities, employment, and all that. So for Gen Zs, they would want authenticity, they would want clear structures, they would want being ethical and all that. So it's about balancing between the older and balancing the generations between the older and the Gen Zs. Yes.
And you know, Mr. Paul, every change comes with its challenges and its hardship, especially now the fact that the Gen Zs are trying to redefine this work culture from the traditional model to the new model. As someone who mentors the young professionals, especially through the Hatua Network, what are some of the challenges maybe these people support or maybe face during this when starting their careers or maybe just during their work programs?
Okay, one of the challenges that the young generation they face when they're starting their career is the element of experience. You find that employers will ask for 5 years experience, 2 years experience. So, and you know, jobs are not available, jobs are scarce. So these are some of the challenges. And also in terms of preparedness, you know, like I said, the workplace has not yet 100% transitioned to the digital era. Some are still using the old traditional methods. So you find that the Gen Z have been exposed so much to the internet. So you have to prepare them adequately. And that's why through Hatua Network and also through the Institute of Human Resource Management, we normally do career talks. We visit institutions, organizations, we offer soft skills. We also offer exit interviews. We also exit interviews for the 4th years and the 3rd years who are transiting to the job market to ensure that they have a smooth run and also they're able to acclimatize with the world of work.
We understand that you're also a co-founder of Green HR Africa, which promotes sustainable HR practices. So how do you see the Gen Z contributing to building environmentally conscious workspace?
The Gen Z can be they can be instrumental in terms of green HR movement, because in the green HR we are talking about eco-conscious practices that promote sustainable practices, like paperless and automation, paperless human resource system.
Yeah.
So for Gen Zs, they are tech savvy people. They don't want paper. They want technology. They don't want paper. So for us as Green HR, the Gen Z can be a very good plugin in terms of sustainability. And also we have element of remote work, hybrid work. You see, when you're commuting to work, you're burning carbon. There's a lot of traffic on the jam. So the Gen Zs, they prefer working from home.
Yeah.
Okay? And also there's the element of cycling to work. Cycling to work, like these days we have electric bikes, which are less, they don't burn, they use electricity. So meaning they don't use carbon, the fossil fuels which emit carbon. So for the Gen Zs, actually they're the biggest stakeholders of the Green HR movement. And also partnering with them in terms of planting mangrove. We do a lot of partnership with BMUs, youth organization, and also other institutions which are youthful in nature, so that we are able to restore our mangrove catchment areas and also restore our biodiversity at the coastal region.
Yeah.
And Mr. Paul, I understand that you've also worked on developing HR policies and career guidelines. So how can these tools support Gen Z's growth and inclusion in the workforce?
All right. Like the tool career guidelines. Career guidelines, they are clear. They're able to inform you where you are supposed to be. And for Gen Zs, they don't want static jobs. You find in an organization, somebody can be a cleaner for 20, 30 years. So when a Gen Z gets into the organization, you need to define, where will I be in the next 5 years? Probably you need to draw a roadmap of a Gen Z from the day he enters the organization until that time he becomes the CEO. So career guidelines, they normally help us to map up that journey, and also helps us in the succession plan of the organization.
How do you think it is the best or what is the best way that companies can motivate the Gen Zs in the workplace?
All right. Companies can motivate the Gen Zs in a number of ways. First of all, we have the intrinsic and the extrinsic way of motivating. Motivation doesn't have to be monetary. Gen Zs, they want instant feedback. Okay, they would want you to celebrate their small wins, a pat on the back. They will also want you to celebrate when they do an innovation. Okay, so, and also having safe spaces, you see, your studio, which is very colorful, very interactive. I'm sure you are very happy working in this organization, which is not linked to any monetary gain, but by you being here, you feel happy, you feel like the workspace is equally like your home. So as employers, we also need to create safe spaces, engaging workforce, engaging work environment. We also need to embrace a lot of digital tools in the organization. Things like WhatsApp, instant messaging, ChatGPT, When you go to hospital, I'm sure you've been to the children's ward. It's actually very different from the general wards. You find they are painted with cartoons and all that. They do that because they want to engage the kids. So if organization can also make workspaces comfortable, they can have a place whereby people can play games, video games, they can have a coffee, they can listen to music, they can play pool. So it can be very engaging and very motivating to the Gen Z's generation.
And you see, that is very true, because there's a growing talk about the purpose-driven work. Like Gen Zs want to work in places that align with their values. So how can your employers tap into this motivation while keeping business goals in right?
So organizations can tap into value-driven by clearly communicating the values of the organization. Remember, Gen Zs are driven by purpose. For instance, Blue Radio, this is an organization that seeks to bridge the gap of the blue economy, you see. So by you coming to this organization, you are speaking to the youths who are not familiar with the potential that are available in the blue economy. So in the workplace as well, you need also to communicate your values, your organization, what you stand for, because Gen Zs, we want to identify themselves with something. Why do I work for KPA? Because KPA stands for 1, 2, 3, XYZ. Same to different organizations. So it's important for human resource managers, professionals, supervisors and managers to always clearly communicate their mission, their purpose. So this actually fuels and drives the Gen Zs and gives them motivation to wake up every day and go to work.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow up this conversation on our social media pages, Blue Radio KE, at Voice of ND.
At Kish Burial.
And if you have a question for Mr. Paul, you can give us a call right here on 0741 799 and then we'll be able to talk, or even send a voice note on WhatsApp through the same number. Mr. Paul, you've been a part of developing major HR policies in KPA. So how are these policies evolving to accommodate the digital habits and expectations for the Gen Zs?
Okay, some of these policies that we've developed and also assisted in developing the key instruments that drive the authority. Sorry, we have factored in the element of flexibility, the element of innovation. Like one of our core values is innovation, so we encourage innovation, and some of our innovations have actually even won global awards. So, and also in terms of mentorship, coaching and mentorship is also part of our policies, and which is very deliberate. You know, Gen Zs, they want coaching, they want mentorship, they want open communication systems, they want instant feedback, instant messaging. We are also thinking about revolutionizing how we communicate in the organization. We are moving away from the memos, the filing system, to digital tools. So all this is captured in the Gen Z, in our policies. And also there's an element of elimination of workplace harassment, bullying, and making organizations safe for everyone. Gen Zs, they value mental health. Okay. Like I said before, Gen Zs will quit a job that is toxic. So as HR managers, we need to have policies that speak to workplace bullying, harassment, toxic supervisors, toxic managers, and make sure that the organization is habitable for the young generation. So all this is all about formulating our policies to speak to the younger generation.
And Mr. Paul, you might find that in certain organizations, the management are not maybe willing to let go of the traditional management styles to adopting the modern way of work that the Gen Zs want. So as someone managing employee relation, what is your approach to resolving conflicts between traditional management styles and modern employee expectations?
Okay, resistance to change is inevitable. Older generations are rigid, and they want to maintain the status quo. The Gen Zs, on the other hand, they want to challenge the status quo. So for managers, for human resource practitioners, I think it's to have an open conversation with them. Like from the Institute of Human Resource perspective, we have conferences, we have seminars, we have training sessions, where we are training our supervisors. And also there's supervisory trainings whereby supervisors, managers, they're being trained on HR for that HR, whereby they're being empowered to manage their people under them. So in terms of conflict management, we have made it anonymous reporting, whereby people can report to you anonymously that this is a problem that I encountered in the organization. Then you're able to call the two parties that are in conflict and engage them in a way that brings harmony and conducive working environment between the generations.
When we talk about money in like payment in an organization, do you think that is a motivational aspect in when it comes to handling when it comes to the whole Gen Z thing? Or I'm asking this because there was a time I was working in a place where when it comes to end of the month, they would take a very long time to pay the Gen Zs or the young people in the organization. And we could see conflicts rising on the same. So when maybe you're being given a task, hata kama umelipwa late, but then you're continuing to work in the same environment, but then sasa unapata you're rigid. Like when you're being given work, you're like, it's like you don't want to do it. Like you're not giving your all. So how does money, like when you talk about money with the Gen Zs, is it a big motivator of, in the workspace?
Yeah, money is a big motivator. Actually, the reason as to why we wake up every morning to work is because we're expecting to be remunerated at the end of the month, at the end of the week, depending on the agreement on our contracts.
Yeah.
So salaries must be timely paid, and also motivation in terms, if you want to motivate somebody, it has to be linked to the performance. So for Gen Zs, they want their performance to be rewarded, to be recognized. They want people to feel that they value their contributions to the organization. So it's normal for you to withdraw.
Yeah.
It's normal for you to be disengaged, especially when you feel like you're not fairly remunerated based on the output and the contributions that you are bringing into the table.
Yeah, sometimes they tell you that money should be the last thing you talk about in an organization, because they're always looking at delivery. And so sometimes on a part they ignore that aspect of money, so that you can just be focused on work.
Okay, it depends on the level of on the level of the job. For instance, my encouragement to younger professionals, people who are getting into the job industry, my encouragement to them is usually, it's not about how much you get, it's about what you become.
Yeah.
As you are joining the profession, for instance, like myself, when I started out as a HR professional, I earned as low as 3,000 shillings, and I used to work in Bamburi, commuting all the way from the CBD to Bamburi all the way. So it was little, but in terms of experience, exposure, it has actually reshaped me and made me the HR that I am today. So when you're starting out, the goal is not about the money, it's about who you become. So once you have specialized and you become a specialist, you become a professional, you become a guru in your area. Now you can demand for the salary that you want. But as you're starting out, you have to be patient a little bit so that you can gain skills.
But then how can you prevent those people using you or taking advantage of you, because you're feeling motivated, you want to give your all, and so they say, hey, this person is fully motivated, so let's add. You find that people are piling up so much on you, and so because of that you end up being pressed down again.
Yeah. Okay, it is because you have expectations, and it's good to also manage expectations. Also the organization that you work in, set clear targets, set clear goals.
Yeah.
Don't overdo. Sometimes you want to over-impress people that, me, I'm the best in IT, I'm the best in this and this. And probably the person that you want to impress is not even familiar with what you've done. Maybe it's a huge task which you manage to do with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So he will not see that element of the input that you've done. So it's to manage your expectations, set clear targets, and know how much you can bite, because sometimes when you do much, you also expect to be given more. So just to work within your limits, so that even if you don't get the reward that you wanted, utasema tu ni sawa tu. At least I did my best.
Right.
But that does not stop you from doing your best. You have to do your best. You have to shine. You have to stand out in the organization.
And Mr. Paul, you get to interact with the older employees and the new generation, and sometimes there's a clash or misunderstanding between these two generations, where you see this older generation believe in critical thinking and just using your own analysis, and thinking that maybe the new generation is fully dependent on technology. But then now the new generation also think that why do maybe the long process if you can just go to technology and do this easier way. So as a HR professional, what strategies can be used to bridge the gap between the Gen Zs and older colleagues for better teamwork and communication?
Okay, I think I've already mentioned this point, but maybe I can repeat it. So the ways the organization can bridge this gap, first of all, is to practice reverse mentorship. When you do reverse mentorship, like I earlier said, people are able to exchange ideas, like older generation are able to share the critical thinking that you've talked about. Gen Zs also, they're able to share with us the digital skills that they know, okay? And also communication, always communicate to them the expectations that they need. Then also regular training, continuous learning in the organization. So it's important, as an organization to ensure that we promote continuous learning system in the organization, so that we are not in a situation whereby we don't understand each other. We should always embrace learning. We should always embrace change. An organization that embraces change is usually very ready for any future eventualities. Yeah. Like company like Safaricom, for instance, I don't think they have a huge challenge in terms of managing Gen Z, because they are always adaptable. They are always on the move, trying to understand what is happening in the market, the future, and all that. But for rigid structures, these are organizations that they are having challenges to manage older and the digital generation.
As an employee relations officer, you deal with workplace harmony and industrial relations. So how do Gen Z's open, expressive nature influence workspace communication and conflict resolution?
Gen Z's in terms of industrial harmony?
Yeah.
So basically, industrial harmony is to ensure that there's business continuity. When you're talking about industrial harmony, we are talking about people from different organizations, people from diverse backgrounds, people from older generations, younger generations, bringing them together, uniting them towards a common goal in the organization.
Yeah.
So for Gen Z being expressive, it's about accommodating their views, and also making sure they also have the soft skills. Sometimes you can be expressive but very hurtful, depending on the kind of words that you're using.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, they need to be mentored on how they address the older generation at the workplace, because sometimes you find that the older generations, these are people you found them in the organization, and then a young person comes and tries to show them things around. People will not feel nice, so you have to always tiptoe in the organization. When you're getting into an organization, you need to tiptoe. You don't need to get with a bang, because if you get in a bang, people will you start facing resistance. People will start saying, ukijana kona kiherehere, huyo anajifanya anajua mingi. Then people will start setting you up against your colleagues, your workmates. Before you know it, the place becomes toxic. You start quitting, you start withdrawing, you start looking for another organization.
Yeah.
Because they say ulikuja na kiherehere mingi, knowing a lot. So sometimes it's good to learn the organization, understand how things work, understand your seniors, people who we found them. Just know how to work within the established regulations.
Yeah, I know there's some young people who do not know how to relate with other people in the office. Like there's someone I know who is very offended when they ask a question to maybe a female counterpart, and then they are answered a certain way. They get furious. So how is there something that the Gen Zs should know in terms of communicating in the workspace, maybe with female counterparts and also their female bosses, and also the other guys as well?
Maybe could you give an example so that we can be specific to that part of communication?
This guy was like, I spoke to my female boss, and I did not like the way she answered me. So I cannot work around her. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. See, it depends on the situation, and like I said, you need to answer. You need to be emotional intelligence. Don't always react to everything.
Yeah.
Some things are best handled when you just ignore them and understand that there are bad days in office. People go through a lot. Sometimes maybe there's something happening around his life, around his space, So he might have responded in a way that was not pleasing, not because he really hates you or loves you, but you can as well approach that person. Maybe after things have cooled down, you can basically approach him or her and try to explain how you felt from her reaction. Then you can have a conversation, forgive one another, have a cup of tea, have lunch together, and you have finished it.
Yeah.
Instead of just judging that this person, I cannot work with that person. People have different days. So always try to be tolerant and accommodate one another.
Yeah, because there's also that work etiquette where, like, even if your boss is your fellow Gen Z, there's a way you can communicate with them with that level of respect, But it doesn't mean that since he's or they are your age mate, you just talk to them anyhow.
Yeah. Yes, very true, very true. And also, you also need to understand different people. You see, the way I talk to you is not the same way I'll talk to person X. It depends on how we relate, how we interacting, and like Gen Zs, they would like to express themselves. If they don't like how you speak to them, they will tell you on your face, like, I don't like how you address me. I don't like you calling me this name and all that. So for me, it's about how we relate. There are people whom I don't talk to openly, not because I hate them or I have a personal vendetta with them, but because I want to maintain certain boundaries. And there are people who I can call even at late past midnight. So it depends on how we relate.
And Mr. Paul, let's talk about the digital platforms and the use of AI tools. They have their downsides as well. As much as they make work easier, and also they are very reliable, they also have their downsides. So are there any risks that are related to the digital platforms when you over depend on these digital platforms, especially in a professional setting?
Yeah, there is. When you're over relying, technology is here to make work easier. Technology should not replace the human mindset. So when you rely so much on technology, you find that organization misses out on critical thinking. A simple email, a Gen Z will want to prompt ChatGPT.
Yeah, exactly. That is what I was just about to say, because you find that even considering a simple paragraph that you used to just think about, it's like everything you just
prompt.
You just prompt it on ChatGPT.
I want to ask my boss for it. Okay. So we actually are limiting our brains. Human brain is limitless. A human brain could take someone to the moon. So you can imagine how powerful our minds are. So if you're relying on machine learning and technology, it means we are limiting ourselves.
Do you think nowadays organizations understand how to motivate the Gen Zs?
Nowadays, yes, quite. They understand how to motivate the Gen Zs. We are giving them freedom. Right? You see, you find that these days, if you walk in at 9, at 10, there's limited shouting, not like before. Us millennials, we go to traffic. But for the Gen Zs, provided you've done your work, nobody has a problem with you. So things are getting easier. And even I think by the time we're getting to Gen Alpha, the organization will have revolutionized and be able to accommodate the future generations.
And they always say that the younger generation brings spice to the workplace. So let's talk about Kenya Ports Authority. Are there any innovations or maybe fresh energy that you've cited, or maybe you can cite that the young generation have brought into the organization?
Yeah, there are quite a number of innovations that the Gen Zs have brought into the organization. We also have things like the digital payment systems. These are things that have been innovated right at the port. Local and homegrown talents. We're talking about, we have a colleague who has innovated an electric bike. So he seeks to address the element of carbon emission, because the port is quite huge, and for you to be able to complete cargo clearance, you have to move from office A to office B, from one place to another. So that means there's a lot of movement. And you probably need to use a vehicle or a bus or maybe a motorbike. So for this gentleman, he came up with an e-bike, that just is powered by electricity and also alternative fuel that doesn't use fossil fuel. So that's a very good innovation that can actually be replicated not just for the port, but also for the other industries. And also Gen Zs, they are very fast. They've made work very easy. Work which was done in a month, a Gen Z will probably do it in an hour's time. So in terms of efficiency, they've enabled efficiency, timely output, and also informed decision making, because they can be able to manipulate digital tools in terms of, like, for instance, when you want to make decisions, you need data. Data has to be analyzed. And these days we have analytical tools. We have the SPSS, which these guys can actually be able to manipulate and integrate systems, so for us to be able to have informed decision. So for their contribution, I think they've made work easier, more efficient, and more informed decisions at the workplace.
All right. In your opinion, what digital trends will shape the next 5 years of workspace or workplace transformation?
In my opinion, the digital trends, I think most organizations will embrace remote jobs, okay? And also the face-to-face meetings are slowly fading away. People are slowly embracing online meetings, okay? And also people will also minimize, we'll have a paperless organizations. We'll have paperless organizations where everything will be automated. So in my view, in the future of work will be purely driven on technology. From how you get into the organization, you're able to manage your time, your salary, your exit, your performance reviews, your everything will just be driven by technology. Yeah. So the faster we embrace technology, the better for everyone, because this is actually a digital transformation that will sweep across all industries.
Yeah.
I don't know if in your mentorship programs you've met Gen Zs who really want to rush it in life. Okay, they say that Gen Zs want to maybe get things in rush, especially when they're employed. Napata Gen Z is employed today, tomorrow the increase in salary, the salary the next day is driving a car and stuff like that. I don't know if maybe you've encountered such cases, and maybe what kind of advice can you give the young people who are entering the career spaces?
Okay, the young people who are entering the career spaces, you have to prepare them adequately, and also manage the expectations. And also this is also because of the kind of training that we get in the universities. You find that, when you're in the university, probably you are trained to be, maybe you're doing bachelor's in business management. So for 4 years, you're preparing this student to be a manager. So when he gets to the organization, the first thing, anatumwa chai na mandazi. So you see, so he gets a shock from day one because of the preparation and also the exposure. There's exposure, whatever we see on social media, TikTok, you see a young person driving a big car, and also you think about yourself or you're not driving the same. So sometimes it's about peer pressure that they get from social media, which is not actually the reality. Some people, social media is not 100% true, because people would like to express the good side of their life.
Yeah.
Nobody will put on social media that, I was beaten by so-and-so. They will always want to put the positive side.
Positive, yeah.
So, and for Gen Zs, that is what they consume on a day-to-day basis. Also in the organization, maybe they view the organization as a safe working space. So when they come to the reality, now they find it challenging, because not all organizations have embraced technology. So for us, also for myself, in terms of mentorship, I do a lot of preparation. I also, like an institution like Mount Kenya University, Kenyatta University, I've done career talks just to have an engagement and conversation with them and tell them this is what we're expecting of them. And also when they're coming to the organization, this is how they're supposed to dress up. Okay, you need to make them understand that this is a formal setting. You're supposed to put on formally. You need to put on black shoes. There's no headphones. Okay, an industry like, for instance, KPA. KPA is a high risk organization in terms of safety issues.
Yeah.
So Gen Zs, they want to put on the headsets and headphones. That can be a risk and danger to that person, because you might not know the next moment, maybe there's something which has knocked your head or something. So I think we need to prepare the young generation through deliberate mentorship.
So in terms of preparedness, there's a way you should, or companies should be able to know how to speak with the Gen Zs without making them feel like they're being downlooked.
Yes.
Like telling someone you look indecent, is the way your hair is, locks. Gen Zs lazima ukuwe tu sharp. Kile mtu anakwambia unakaa indecent, you look bad, there's a certain way, as in make them feel good about themselves. But unamwambia with this hairstyle, there's some offices where you will not fit in. There's some people who will not take you serious, maybe. Like when you're having a conversation with them.
And also some people might judge you. Human beings, we like judging.
Yeah.
we're not judging from the first. We judge you based on how you look, how you speak. So sometimes you can be unfairly judged by just how you dress.
Exactly.
But deep down inside you, you are a good employee. You are a good worker. You can push the numbers.
Yeah, because I remember there's a friend of mine who was hit by a motorbike when he was wearing the headphones. Again, that job. I did not hear anything. He was just walking, listening to music. Anapita tu, akagonga. Anaenda kazini. Yeah. So.
And Mr. Paul, this is on a light note. You interact with the young people a lot, right? In your mentorship program. So unajua saa zingine wanasemanga there are a lot of misconceptions around the Gen Zs at the workplace, and sometimes they say that you find Gen Z ameandikia HR pale kwa tissue paper. Unajua mimi mama yangu hakunituma hapa nilipe literally. Like have you ever come across such kind of things that they say about us Gen Zs?
Okay, personally in my experience I've not come across that, but I've seen it on social media. Like somebody anaandika tu kwa tissue, I quit.
Yeah.
Okay, because they expect the expectations and the demands are not been fulfilled. So these are people who switch jobs very fast. Remember one thing about Gen Zs, Gen Z work is not about for the older generation, work is a responsibility. Like I have to go to work because I have bills to pay.
Sure.
I have kids that need to go to school. I have a parent who is sick. But for a Gen Z, work is all about personal growth. What does Blue Radio have to offer to me? So if you don't meet my demands or my expectations, I just do a tissue paper kind of resignation and drop on my desk. In fact, I'll not even tell you that I'm leaving. Mchokore, ukifungua drawer yangu you find
because they have a lot to say. They even tell you that employ a Gen Z, and then the next day he comes with a friend anakwambia why do kwa kazi yenye naweza fanya watu wawili nilete mwenzangu hapa hivi. So you employ them and then they employ another person. There are a lot of misconceptions around these Gen Zs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also Gen Zs for them work is not like a do or die thing.
Yeah.
So they also have side gigs.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you might find that maybe anafanya side gig which pays more than even the 8 to 5 job. There's a lot of content creation, digital space, online marketing, online writing. So this guy probably is doing some side gigs which are better paid, which are better in terms of flexibility than whatever you are putting them. You are policing them. They are supposed to come from 8 to 5. They're not supposed to dress. They're not supposed to be in trades. They're not supposed to be on headphones. There's so much policing. Gen Zs are paid equal policed. They want freedom on how they how they're doing the job, where they're going to do the job. Hawataki kuwa policed, micromanagement. Like umefanya hiyo kazi, umefikia wapi? How far are you? Mbona hujaweka hii paragraph? Mbona hujafanya nini? You see, they get easily irritated with micromanagement.
What would you tell the Gen Z who's been told that AI or ChatGPT ni mbaya, and they have taken it positively or negatively, na wakaamua ku like keep off, wakasema I'll just be rigid, I'll not even interact with it. But now you see the world is moving forward, but this person amebaki tu akisema ni mbaya. What would you tell this guy?
The guy who is telling Gen Z that ChatGPT ni mbaya. Okay.
And also the Gen Z who has believed that ni mbaya, so I'm not touching it, I'm not doing anything, so they're left behind.
Okay, you see, if it's a revolution, and the faster you embrace it, the better for you.
Yeah.
Remember tulikuwa na Nokia, which was a powerful phone. We had brands like Kodak. You remember Kodak? Kama mlikuwa mjazaliwa, Kodak. Kitambo when you wanted to do a nice photo, you had to go to Kodak.
Okay, I remember. the Polaroid or something.
No, Kodak. Studios. There are studios called Kodak. You have to go there. Curtains in a pigwa and then you are told to wait for like 2 weeks for your photograph to be ready. But these days things are instant. Nachukua tu simu, napiga selfie, passport, so technology it's a revolution. So the organizations that they didn't embrace change right now, they're out of business. And if you are not part of the disruption, it means you not be existing. Kila mtu ana embrace technology, and we're encouraging even the older generations, even the people to move with this. In a train, the train has already left the station.
Yeah.
Hakuna ingine inarudi. Sio kama stage ya matatu, like when one matatu leaves you, kuna nyingine posta itakupata Bakarani. This is a train that when it leaves, it is never gonna come back.
Yeah. If you had to redesign the education system to prepare the Gen Z for workplace in the future, what would you change first?
If I was to redesign?
Yeah, the education system, like to prepare the Gen Z for the future workspace.
Okay, but I think there's quite a number of improvement in the current CPC setup, whereby kids are actually being integrated to the real world, not like the 844 system, whereby unafundishwa kanusha sentensi, tanakali za sauti, which probably you have not heard you using even one tanakali since we started.
Yeah.
So for me, I think the current education system, the competency-based curriculum is actually addressing our current needs.
Yeah.
Like you find like my kid is a 4-year-old kid, but he can actually express himself. He can manipulate systems. He can anaweza kuweka cartoon kivyake. You see.
Yeah.
So it means that the education system is currently working for our generation, and also in the near future, things will be a bit easy and also a bit complex for the older generation who do not want to adapt to technology.
Yeah.
So watu wa 844 kidogo tunakuwa na shida because we were bombarded with a lot of information. Like you are taught more concepts in chemistry. I'm not even a scientist. I'm managing people. So sometimes I wonder why I was spending 4 years in school learning things which are irrelevant to me. I could have actually zeroed into HR from the word go. So it would be beneficial to me, to the organization, and also to the society.
So as we wind up, what is your message to employers and Gen Z professionals listening this morning about embracing the digital future of work?
My message to employers, my message to employers is to embrace Gen Zs like other people. Embrace Gen Zs because these are the future of our workforce.
Yeah.
Actually, when you look at statistics, 30% of our workforce, actually Kenya, let's just start from Kenya. Kenya is a youthful population, and out of this youthful population, 30% of them actually comprises of the future workforce. So for employers, I want to encourage them to quickly adapt, embrace change, formulate policies like flexibility, remote work, hybrid systems. Okay, they also need to be a bit flexible, avoid the rigid structures, clearly communicate your purpose to the Gen Zs, embrace them because these are the next powerful generation and the next powerful force that are going to transform our businesses. And for the Gen Zs, I also want to encourage them also to understand the older generations from the perspective of where they came from, and also when they are coming to the organization, seek mentorship, have people who can guide you through the organization, be patient, okay? Nothing happens overnight. It is a process through hard work, resilience, and patience. You'll get there. Yeah, so I think that is my message for the Gen Zs this morning.
Before you give us your parting shot, what is that one lesson you've learned from working with young professionals that has changed how you view HR?
One lesson that has changed my perspective is efficiency. And Gen Zs are quite efficiency and also in terms of timely execution of tasks. Okay, and there are people that you don't need to police them around. You just give them work, give them the expectations, give them the instructions, the directions, and they'll be able to deliver the tasks. So they work under very minimal supervision. So they can be on earphones, they can be on dreads, they can come in shaggy, but the output is amazing. It's quite amazing.
That is awesome. Thank you very much for coming through. Maybe if you have a contact when people can reach you through, or social media, email.
Okay, my number is 0712 475 323. And also on LinkedIn, you can find me on Paul Joseph Badia. I post a lot of engaging conversations around the workplace, about the future of work, green HR movement, sustainable practices. So I'm free for any consultation. If there are any assignments for consulting, I'm always free and available to partner and work with
Thank you so much for coming, because in Nigeria there's something that I wanted to add. And as much as the Gen Zs, we are given the freedom to express ourselves, and we're not policed around at work, that does not mean that we should now start being rebellious. We should understand each other, especially at workplaces. Joe, we are working with the older generation, especially if you're working with people born in the older generation. You should also have a common understanding, mutual understanding of each other. Yeah.
So, and also for that, in terms of freedom of expression, comes with limitations.
Yeah.
So maybe my parting shot will be that responsive use of social media. These days, your CV is your social media tools.
Yeah.
Like when I'm doing my background checks, I'll go to your LinkedIn profile, I'll go to your Facebook page, I'll go to your TikTok and see the kind of messages that you post, because this actually paints a picture of who you are. So let us always be keen on whatever we post, because when you're joining organization, we will do a background check on you.
Right.
We will judge you based on your content.
And social media is not going anywhere.
Siku hizi hautatengeneza CV na ChatGPT. Alafu kuambia I'm a good communicator, I work for this organization. So CV alone will not make us give you a job. We'll go an extra mile and do a background check. We'll even ask Blue Radio, how is this person? How does he fit in the organization? Is he a team player? Is he a contributor? Is he a good communicator? So watu wako responsible. I normally see the conversation, especially Facebook, the way muna samilia watu, shambulia watu. Like there's a friend of mine who was having an engagement on a certain topic, and I was looking at the comment section. Hey, watu walikuwa namsalimia. It was crazy. So let's be responsible.
Yeah.